A contest for the guests of Cordona. Find hidden treasure.
It seems they're not expecting guests.
I won't wait for an invitation, John. This earthenware came a long way from the Staffordshire potteries.
These workers don't look like your average Cordona folk.
They're refugees from the camp. Porcelain friend for every child. Shipped from Cape Town. The wine route from colony to colonies. An essential remedy against sea scourge on any ship. Bernadotte doesn't miss an opportunity to occupy every niche in the market. Excuse me, just one question.
Do I look like a man who can help your kind?
Could you help me?
Sorry, we don't see much here.
That's our way in, Sherry.
Hey, yo. This is private property. You lost something.
I'm here to discuss business with Mr. Bernadotte. I tried the front door, but...
Mr. Bernadotte isn't seeing anyone. You have 3 seconds to walk away or you'll never walk again. Capito?
It's in Mr. Bernadotte's best interest to...
1.
Listen, the man Bernadotte sent to...
2.
Well, this has been miserable.
Sherlock, think. We know what the fellows from the gang look like. You can easily blend in.
Come closer and the finest clothes for the finest citizens. Of course. Think it over. Take your time. The finest clothes for the finest citizens. A perfect choice. We have a large assortment and pleasant prices.
Get out.
Well, this has been miserable. We have a large... The finest clothes for the finest citizens. A perfect choice.
Hey, stop. Who are you? Haven't seen you before.
Didn't see you either, mate. I'm John. Just shipped in from London. Cheap bastards had me sharing a bunk with two others.
Aye, that sounds like Bernadotte. Why are you here?
A problem at the refugee camp. I need to report to Mr. Bernadotte. The sooner the better.
I knew it was only a matter of time until those savages stirred up trouble. Go on, get inside.
You did it, Sherry. A full immersion into the criminal underworld.
Loads of pirate gold buried somewhere around, just waiting to be found.
It's all right, there's no treasure.
But maybe there is. I just need to crack the bloody riddle.
Sherry, look! This seems familiar.
An amazing piece of culture. I imagine many collectors and museums would be interested in having it. A Dogon statue from West Africa. A century old at least. Masks, traditional for the Chokwe people of Central Africa. VH Grindley Flow Blue tableware. This is what lies behind the facade of Bernadotte Company Limited. Let's see what's hidden there. Vogel's stolen painting. Isn't it curious how it developed into a much more interesting case?
Hello, friend. Tough day, eh?
I suppose it's Mr. Bernadotte with our fine governor. (1875). It was taken a few years back. John, how many people in Cordona have a photograph with the governor, do you think?
You definitely don't have one.
Excuse me, Mr. Bernadotte is busy right now.
I don't know who you are, but someone will be punished for letting you in. But first, let's talk. Whenever you're ready. I'd hate to intrude.
Niccolo Bernadotti, I presume? The name is Sherlock Holmes, and I'm afraid I bring bad tidings.
Is that so?
The man you sent to the refugee camp failed in his task. He impaled himself on his own blade. A clumsy and chaotic end.
For a man who just broke onto my property, you are more businessman than brute. You have my attention, Mr. Holmes. Do not waste it.
Mr. Bernadotti, do you know the name Boniface Mercurio?
I do not.
Mercurio was a local artist. Recently, a man broke into his apartment, ransacked the place, and killed him. The thief was looking for something.
You are testing my patience, boy.
In a moment, the connection will reveal itself. I was hired, privately, to investigate the recent theft of a painting from an art gallery. My investigation led me to a man from your organization, and thus, to you, Mr. Bernadotti.
That is quite a stretch. Why would I need to steal a painting when I could buy anyone I wanted?
Interestingly enough, I spotted the stolen painting in your storeroom.
I buy and sell a lot of things, Mr. Holmes. Unfortunately, if this is true, it is not the first time I have been sold stolen merchandise. I presume you were hired by the owner of the gallery. Tell them to contact me, and we'll sort out the situation. So, this painting is why you broke into my office.
As I said, your man was found dead in the refugee camp. He was there to kidnap a woman, but the other refugees intervened to try and save her. The ensuing scuffle resulted in the man's accidental suicide. He sported the same tattoo as your men in this building. In fact, it also bears a resemblance to the one on your neck. Care to explain what business your man had with this woman?
You have no idea what you are talking about. I can assure you this was no kidnapping. The refugees in the camp are on edge. What happened there is a tragic accident, one I am not responsible for.
For what reason was your man there if not to abduct her?
Why would I answer? You are yet to justify your presence in the slightest. So many words, so little action. When you barged into my office, Mr. Holmes, I got the impression you wanted to talk business. Now I see you had come just to talk. Tell me exactly what you want, or get out.
It was necessary groundwork for what comes next. I have enough evidence to conclude that the gallery thief, the artist's killer, and the dead man in the camp are all the same person.
Your time is almost up, Mr. Holmes.
Before you draw your gun, there is one final detail I am yet to mention. The young woman your man was tasked to collect from the refugee camp had been defiled at a perverse masquerade party. That violation was captured in a photograph by Boniface Mercurio and used as a reference for his painting. The photo shows the attacker's face.
Finally. That's why you're here, Mr. Holmes. You have the photograph.
It is what your man was after when he broke into Mercurio's apartment, and it is what you're after too, isn't it, Mr. Bernadotti?
You have the photograph with you. How much do you want for it?
I am not naive enough to carry it with me, but I am yet to decide what I shall do with it. I know the man in the photo is a British envoy. What interest do you have in his downfall?
I must admit, I am rather impressed by how comprehensively you have pursued this matter. And so, you deserve the honest answer. My business dealings are often arduous in their bureaucracy. A man in his position, willing to look the other way, could ease my work significantly. In return, I will make sure no one looks his way either. A favor for a favor.
Also known as blackmail, the modus operandi of any true professional.
It was not originally my idea. Mercurio set things in motion, extorting the envoy for the most trivial of ends. Money. In response, the envoy hired my man to retrieve the painting and the photograph, eliminating Mercurio's leverage. I only learned the whole story after the artist was killed in his home.
And rather than extricate yourself, instead you took over Mercurio's venture.
It fell into my lap. As a businessman, I simply seized the opportunity. Now, how much do you want for the image?
Why did you send your man to remove the woman from the camp?
Without a photograph, her testimony was the next best thing. Securing her was in everyone's interest. Victims and witnesses all too often. disappear. I thought the girl was safer with us. I did not anticipate what would happen at the camp.
I could not help but appreciate the collection of smuggled artifacts in your storeroom. You have rather diversified your business.
Oh, high and mighty of you, Mr. Holmes. Not all smuggling is immoral. I pay generous rates to developing cultures and spread their culture to eager buyers. And furthermore, I supply many immigrants with a taste of home.
A very convenient way of thinking.
I have traveled widely, Mr. Holmes. I've seen people in far-flung lands for whom my services are a lifeline. Without them, they would starve. The tax on cargo is often so absurd that it would be more profitable to simply sink your ship than dock it in the harbor. And trust me, I am speaking from experience.
I saw refugees from the camp at your warehouse. They work for you.
I have made certain arrangements with City Hall and the police. Thanks to me, refugees can work and be paid. It's a pathway to freedom.
And how much do you save by capitalizing on their cheap labor?
I have heard no complaints. They seem happy just to get out of that slum.
Why should I give you the photograph?
Just name your price.
What if my price were not money? You claim to have connections, Mr. Bernadotte. Perhaps you could improve conditions for the refugees. Give them a chance for a better life.
Ha! I do have connections, Mr. Holmes, but help the whole camp? You are asking too much. I could, however, make arrangements for one person. The woman who was violated will have her own home outside the camp, solely for her and her child. She will no longer be a refugee, but a princess. That I can guarantee.
Is that really possible?
It will be neither fast nor easy, but I can do it. She deserves it, don't you agree? And as for her abuser, he will serve me, as much as he deserves.
So in your plan, everybody will be given their due. Especially you, Mr. Bernadotte.
Seems like a fair deal, no? I doubt anyone could offer you better. Simply give me the photograph, and the world becomes a better place. I give you my word.
I opened the front door for you. Please, sir, do not linger.
Mr. Holmes, you've returned. Have you uncovered anything new about the theft?
I've brought news, but not all of it will please you.
Fill me in, Mr. Holmes. I won't shoot the messenger.
I located the thief, but found him rather cold. He was tight-lipped about the painting, too.
Huh, he's dead. How very droll, Mr. Holmes. One presumes you were not responsible.
It was an accident at the refugee camp. He impaled himself on his own knife.
Life is nothing if not cruel and capricious.
I tracked down Boniface Mercurio.
I presume he wasn't delighted about the situation.
He was not having a good day on account of his murder. Killed in his own flat by the same person that stole his painting.
Oh, sweet Mercurio. Perishing in the pursuit of his art. How apt. I will miss his exceptional sense of humor. What about the stolen painting? Have you located it?
I found the painting, but I could not retrieve it.
Well then, where is it?
In Bernadotti's office.
Bernadotti? That shady businessman? Why would he steal it from me?
I'm afraid you'll have to ask him yourself.
I take it you found something more then.
I found the source of Mercurio's artistic inspiration. A photograph. What troubled me was that the sexual act captured was non-consensual.
She was violated? Dear God, how despicable.
Her abuser was in fact the British envoy. Mercurio took a picture of him committing the atrocity and then used it as artistic inspiration.
I had no idea a mere break-in would eventually expose such barbarity.
Mr. Vogel, I want you to make everything public, including the photograph. I'm sure you have a connection at the Cordona Chronicle.
Ah, Mr. Holmes. Loyal to your own truth till the end. Yes, I'm acquainted with the staff of the Chronicle. The story is sensational, and will surely draw attention to the gallery. But you must be aware that exposing the scandal will further hurt the victim. Does that not bother you?
No matter what one does, the truth tends to come out, as well it should. I won't be the one to stand in its way.
Though it's only your subjective truth being exposed. Not that I'm judging. It's perfectly reasonable for everyone to have their own views.
When you called me, you knew exactly what you would get.
Oh, but I'm not like you, Mr. Holmes. I cannot be sure of anything. Regardless, I must thank you, for art's sake. Well, now that we've resolved all of our outstanding matters, I have a gift for you. I took the liberty of having it delivered to Stonewood Manor. I am told it belonged to your mother.
And what exactly have you sent me?
Frankly, I'm not sure how to answer that. I trust you'll know.
Previously, you mentioned there may have been more to my mother's passing than consumption. It appears you were right.
Oh dear, I'd hoped to be wrong.
She was unstable, mentally unwell. She required sustained, specialized treatment, but her madness persisted.
I knew that Violet had disappeared from the public eye, but had no idea of her suffering. I cannot imagine what you're feeling.
I'm fine. Thank you, Mr. Vogel. I am curious to see what you have procured. Unholy howls keeping you inside at night? Luigi can help. All ghosts gone. Meet on southern pier of the Silverton Port. Donations gratefully accepted. This town loves the supernatural, but all I see is another scam to disprove.
The world shrivels under a skeptic's eye. That's why you're so sullen, Sherry. You leave no room for delight in the magical.
I delight in making the unknown known. Let us begin by asking someone about the poster and then pay this Luigi a visit to the port. Help me, please.
Yes, mister. I know this.
Someone is playing on people's ignorance and fear.
Or someone is bravely going toe-to-toe with an otherworldly evil to protect the innocent. You're the hero people deserve, but he's the one they need.
May I ask for your assistance?
Ah, mate, I have to disappoint you. I know nothing.
I wonder if Luigi made it himself. Not much brandy was spilled when the bottle broke. Someone had drunk most of it already. Not enough blood for a murder, but plenty to suggest fists were flying in a collie shangles.
I reckon the ghost is responsible for all this mess.
Don't jump to conclusions. Until we locate any evidence to the contrary, we shall continue to exclude the supernatural. Let me concentrate, John. The ghost hunter's stand was here. Someone stormed up angrily.
Let me take it from here. It was the ghost of Cordona, a horrific being, formless, with evil eyes and glassy skin that shimmered like a nebula. It lurched towards its foe.
No, John, it was human. We're staring at the evidence of a scuffle between men.
A little imagination never hurt anybody.
If a mark realizes they've been had, that the fear was baseless, the money defrauded, they will likely return to voice their displeasure. And thus Luigi took a beating. Fools should have at least moved locations between scams. After the attack, he fled bloodied and bruised. Looks like he crawled that way. The empty bottle suggested intoxication. This vomit confirms it.
Well, if you were tailing supernatural creatures for a living, wouldn't you start drinking?
Thanks to you, I am often forced to tail the supernatural. There's a bottle missing. After expelling all the alcohol from his stomach, it seemed he was compelled to replenish it.
Perhaps because booze eases the pain of his lonely and dangerous life. as a ghost hunter.
You need to stop reading the Penny Dreadfuls. He threw the bottle here. We must be near his hideout.
Maybe we just leave, Sherry.
Looks like an appropriate home for a ghost
Disturb
hunter.
the ghost. I have a bad feeling about this.
So this is where all the money was going. An eerie and unsettling sound. Handcrafted, actually rather beautiful work. The painter definitely has an aesthetic. So you see, John, nothing supernatural, just a drunken lowlife fooling superstitious sailors for a living. You can't argue with the truth. The truth will out no matter what one does. You can embellish it all you like, but you're just delaying the inevitable.
Well, he can delay it no more. After what happened at the port, this scam won't work again.
Donations, one presumes.
Maybe we just leave, Sherry. There's no need to disturb the ghost hunter from his beauty sleep.
And the kiss mark, it's the work of a siren, I'm telling you.
Here to gawk at the bloater?
Not at all, officer. Perhaps I can help.
Help with what exactly? Solving an accident? Fellow drank himself to death, literally. Case closed. It's not the first case, neither. A few days ago, another drunken sailor drowned himself in a fountain.
What can you tell me about the other sailor?
Nothing to tell. Some rich chap complained about a dead body in a fountain. Wasn't me who inspected the scene, though. Should have gone easy on the bottle, if you ask me. They get to shore, they start drinking like fish. Too bad booze doesn't make them grow gills, eh?
There's talk on the streets that a siren could be responsible for the drownings.
A siren? You mean the bird woman kind? Why, of course, we've got sirens aplenty round here. Harpies, too. Oh, please.
I would like to take a look around.
Go ahead. Just don't disturb the evidence, all right? I still have to write my report.
Who's it?
It's a good thing the tide hasn't washed away the tracks. I should inspect them more closely.
Who's it?
Siren's song. The rumours weren't so absurd after all. There's still some left, just enough for a tipple. The water is shallow and the slope is smooth. One would have to be dead drunk to drown here. It's a good thing the tide hasn't washed away the tracks. I should inspect them more closely. His whole body is tense, stiffened by rigor mortis. A kiss on the forehead is quite intimate, but the vulgar lip rouge suggests a different type of intimacy. Interesting.
What's happened? Oh, who's
The face is frozen in a contorted smile. His fingers are clenched as if he's clutching to life even now.
Who's it?
Worn, soaked boots, size 8. Something smells fishy here, and it's not brine. The sediment contains cyanide. It turns out he was poisoned.
Didn't the copper say that fellow drank himself to death? He wasn't wrong.
Just get on with it.
What's happened? Who's it?
A bright red lip rouge mark. Light tobacco with a hint of citrus. The water is shallow and the slope is smooth. One One would have to be dead drunk to drown here.
What now? I've still got my report to write, so make it quick.
I hate to break it to you, officer, but it wasn't an accident.
Care to elaborate, smarty boots?
The bottle of wine I found near the victim had been poisoned with cyanide. He was dead before he hit the water.
Whoa, that's a twist. Any leads on the poisoner?
Nothing to put my finger on, but I might need to inspect the other drowned sailor.
Well, of course I won't stop you. It's not my case anyway. We had a complaint about a body in a fountain. Can't have bodies laying about in fountains, can we? It was somewhere in Scaladio, as far as I know. You think they're connected?
That is what I intend to find out. Thank you.
Come back once you've dealt with Panzer.
Killed with one perfect shot to each eye. Killed with one perfect shot to each eye. Can you imagine? hear, Basil? Did you hear Basilio Copello is in jail? A dead body was found in his showroom. Did you hear?
I was being very stealthy, Sherlock, and you threw it all away. Come on, pull yourself together.
Did you hear, Basil? Did you hear?
In the police. Let's pretend to be cops, eh? We can just stand around and look confused. Oh, look, they drained the fountain and removed the body. I'm too late.
No matter, we'll work with what we have. A cotton shawl, could it be our sirens? A worn leather tobacco pouch, salt stained from a long time at sea. Last week's newspaper, the front page reads, "Sky's the limit, Governor funds Arsenal's second airship." The bright red lip rouge mark. Light tobacco with a hint of citrus. A broken bottle with no label.
drowning in a 2 feet deep fountain. I've seen some things, but this really takes the biscuit.
This wine again. Don't sailors prefer spirits? Drained to the last drop. The victim won't be needing his cap anymore. I might as well take it. Ugh, the litter bin is right there. This sailor is another victim of the same woman. She poisoned him and pushed him into the fountain to make it look like an accident.
Sherlock, at the spot where he fell, I saw something. Maybe you should take a look.
A water-soaked matchbox from the Drinking Dutchman. Must be a local pub. Venetian copper soldi. Authentic, but worthless.
Blimey, the great detective is baffled by a piece of cutlery.
Not looking for company, boy. Not in the mood for chit-chat.
You sure you're in the right place? We don't serve cocktails here.
I'm looking for information about a sailor who recently drowned in Scaladio. Would you happen to know anything about him?
Maybe. Maybe not.